Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and mute just so we have a clean recording. But at any time, if you have, oops, sorry, Emily's asking if she can still log on. Hold on one second. I'm going to send her the information. Give me a second here. Okay. Okay, so we'll just see if Emily jumps in here in a second. So I'm just muting you guys, but like I said, at any point, feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions or whatever. I want this to be interactive because I want you guys to have all your questions answered and understand what's going on with this program. So the information packet that I sent out last week is in the process of being updated. We're adding a bunch of new programs, and another yoga camp is in formation as we speak. So I'll tell you what I do know for sure, and then I will also share some of the thoughts I have for what will also be coming. But to tell you a little bit about this program, it was designed to be kind of a 3-tiered program, and it's called the Advanced Yoga Specialty and Therapeutics Program, or AYST. You guys have already done elements of that program. So whether you have joined us to just get continuing education hours, or you have joined to get a certificate in a specialty area, you're already a part of this program. What I want to talk about tonight is the pathway to getting a 300-hour or a 500-hour certificate, because that is also available to you. And since you have taken at least one of the modules, I think all of you have, I want to just lay that out for you so you understand what the program is and decide whether or not this is the right fit for you at this time, if this is something that you want to pursue. So if you are interested in going on to pursue a 300-hour or a 500-hour, it's really super simple. All you have to do is complete an application, and then you just start accruing your hours. And I am more than happy to offer you credit for the programs that you've already taken. I see a couple of people have jumped on. I don't know who PHAT girl is. Who's that?
That's Emily.
Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hey. Good, thanks.
Awesome. And then I also see a phone number that dialed in. Is that Colleen Bender?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to mute you guys, and whenever you need to unmute yourself, feel free to do that. I think it's *6. Hold on. I better double check that since you're both on the phone. Well, one of you is on the phone. You know what? I'll just keep you off mute, and that way if you need to speak up, you can speak up. Colleen, I'm just concerned that maybe I can't recall what the unmute is. So anyway, what I was sharing was that this is a tiered program where you can accrue continuing ed hours, or you can get certificates in specialty areas, or you can pursue a 300-hour or a 500-hour master program through this particular program. And so all that's required is that you would complete an application, and then you start accruing your hours. The programs that you've already taken, I'm going to back credit, so make those retroactively available in terms of the hours that you've already completed. So you don't have to worry about that. What you do need to worry about is whether or not you completed all the homework for that program, okay? So if for some reason you just wanted the contact hours for continuing ed purposes and you decided not to do the homework, then you would need to go back and complete the homework requirements in order to pursue that 300-hour or 500-hour. And so if that's the case, just get with me. I'm happy to remind you what those homework requirements were. Not all modules had homework requirements, but some of them do. So I will make sure to get with you guys after this individually to make sure you're on track if this is what you want to do. And so the great thing about this program is that you have the flexibility to build your own master's program. So you can pick and choose which of the modules appeal to you and where your interests lie, and build it over time, taking as much time as you need and you require in order to complete that 300-hour or 500-hour. The only specification that we have is that you can't go more than a year in between 2 modules, okay? So if it starts to approach a year, you're going to be getting nudges from me to say, hey, you need to take another module, because you need to have continuous progress toward that 300-hour or 500-hour. The other thing about it is that you have up to a year to complete the homework for any of the modules that you do. The problem is that you don't want those to pile on, right? So for example, if you took like 3 modules in a row and you've got backlogged homework, but you have a year to do it, I don't want you waiting till the last minute. I want you to do it while it's fresh, because you're going to get the most, bang out of your buck, literally, for that. But also, it's going to keep it from piling up at the end where you have a ton of homework to complete, near the end of your program. So those are like, 2 of the things that I just wanted to highlight and point out, because I don't want to see that happen to you. I'm great at nagging people. As you guys know, if you've been in my 200-hour program, I will be knocking on your door saying, hey, where's that homework? How's it going? And we are here for you to help mentor you through that journey to ensure your success and your progress, okay? So a couple of things about the program that are important to note is that, like I said, you can build your own program, but you also can specify what your specialty area will be. So you can do it in yoga therapeutics, you can do it in yoga wellness coaching, or you can do it in touch. You just have to get, I'm trying to remember, hold on, I'm looking. 30% of your hours have to be completed within that specialty area in order for that to count as your specialty area. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, cool. So we offer modules in a couple different formats. We have web-based modules, so they're all done online in this format through Zoom. If it doesn't require contact hours, if it doesn't require hands-on assist, or if it's information that we can deliver in that format, we will. But then we do have yoga camps every 6 months or so that require that in-depth understanding, that immersion kind of format where, we are learning things in a hands-on fashion. For example, the last yoga camp we just did, which several of you were a part of, we did various aspects of touch that really need to be done in person, right? We can't do Reiki training and Thai yoga massage training and confident touch unless we're in person. So those are the kinds of things you're going to see show up in yoga camps, but also if we need to dive into some things in a more interactive format, or in a format where I really feel it's important that we be in person, that's where those will show up. Okay, so we've already done 2 yoga camps in 2018, and soon I'll share with you what we have planned for 2019 and 2020. Actually, we had one in 2018 and one in 2019 so far. So I'll give you, a heads up of what's coming. So we also have 2 self-paced modules, which are add-on programs. Sherry, you are a part of that one. You're doing the Christ-centered add-on. So we have a Christ-centered add-on for existing 200-hour yoga teachers who want to be trained in how to facilitate Christ-centered yoga classes. In addition to that, we have a mindful eating program where you will get trained as a mindful eating facilitator and be able to incorporate that into your yoga classes. So it's the mindful eating plus yoga teacher training program that's part of an add-on. So you could choose to just do an 8-week series with your people where it's a 8-week workshop series. You could do it in any variety of formats as long as you get permission from Michelle May. And you could also combine it with yoga where you're doing mindful eating plus yoga. You can also do retreats and workshops. So there's lots of options available to you if that's something that interests you. I'll get to that in detail a little bit more later. So if you have the handout in front of you, if you don't, no big deal, but if you have it in front of you, I'm just going to give you some highlights of what we did in 2018 so far. So you get an idea for the kinds of programs that we're offering and the, you know, the different courses that are available to you. So in August of last year, when we revamped this program and then we relaunched it basically in August of last year, we taught restorative yoga. So for people who are interested in facilitating restorative yoga classes, we also did chair yoga. We did the 4 pillars of integrity with Heath and Nicole Reed, also fabulous. And by the way, that is available as a self-paced program. All 3 of those are. We recorded them. So if you want to go back and do it in a self-paced format, those are available to you as recordings that you can do in your own time, and obviously be led with some mentoring by me. So keep that in mind. Then we had a yoga therapeutics training yoga camp where we covered the yoga anatomy for therapeutics. We did psoas release yoga. We did yoga nidra through the Richard Miller method. And then we did healing moves, which are specific yoga therapies for different healing projects in the body. So including things for foot, ankle, knee, hip, spine, shoulders, low back, wrist, head, neck. So we did all kinds of therapeutics around that. That will be something that we repeat in the future based on demand. So we'll be checking in with you guys if you enroll for the program to find out where your interests lie, what things you want to see brought back. We'll be taking that into consideration as we develop, future programs. We also did mindfulness and stress relief. World religions and spirituality, we didn't get enough people to register for that, so that became a self-study. So if you're interested in doing that as a self-study, please let me know and I'm happy to guide you in that. We may revisit it in the future. I just think that it was kind of early in the program. We had a lot going on at that time where we had just done several different trainings, and I did have a lot of interest, but the timing was bad for people, so we may revisit that. So let me know if you're interested in seeing that. And then I did Am I Hungry Mindful Eating program. So that's an 8-week program that we condensed down into 4 weeks to introduce people to the concepts of mindful eating and the applications of that. So, and then, like I mentioned earlier, we then had a yoga, therapeutics, and touch training in April where we covered yin, yoga nidra with the Swami Saraswati method. We did integration of yoga and addiction recovery, confident touch, Thai yoga bodywork, and Reiki level 1. So that's what we have covered so far. April 30th, so a week from today, Heath and Nicole will be teaching body intelligence, which is a continuation of the 4 pillars of integrity, but it goes into much more detail about how to really understand the anatomy of energetics and how to communicate with our body about our emotions and how to find a way to really a state of integrity in our mind, heart, body, and spirit, really aligning ourselves using body intelligence to guide us in that way. So that's going to be April 30th and May 14th. That's $90, and that module does not have any homework. For those of you who don't really want homework right now, that's a great program for you. Then we're going to do yoga for grief recovery in June. Deb Altoff, who is a very dear friend of mine, an incredible yoga instructor who specializes in this area, is going to do a 4-week program in June, all online, and the body intelligence is also online, where she really dives into the healing aspects of yoga to help people process through and heal their grief. So that one is $150 and does not have any homework either. So if that's something you're interested in, that one's offered in June. We're going to take July and August off. And then in September, Lori Haas, who is a licensed professional counselor and a yoga therapist. She did her yoga therapy teacher training with me. She's going to offer a program called Yoga Nourishment, dealing with eating disorders and body image. So that one's going to be offered in September. And then in January, we're going to do yoga for cancer recovery. And so Lori Trujillo is going to offer a 4-week program in terms of how we can use yoga to help people navigate through their cancer journey and heal through their cancer journey. So that'll be offered in January. And then we have other things planned coming up. In October, that's the yoga camp I was sharing with you about. In October, the 23rd through the 28th, that will be an in-person yoga camp immersion. We're going to be doing specialty training. So we're going to focus on kids. So yoga for kids in all different age groups. We're going to look at, I think, 4 different age groups where you learn specific tools and strategies for teaching yoga in different environments with children. Then we're going to do yoga for athletes. We're going to revisit restorative yoga in person this time because we had done it online in August of last year. Then we're going to look at yoga for special populations, including MS, Parkinson's, arthritis, scoliosis, other spinal conditions, RA, and some other special populations, the elderly. And we're going to look at modifying yoga at the wall, using chairs, and then other modifications, and restorative will also be a part of that. And then Heath is going to actually teach the anatomy for those special populations. So we're going to look at specific anatomy of those populations, so we have that in our mind when we're working with those individuals. So that's what we have for sure planned at this moment. I am talking to 2 other people at the moment who will be bringing in how to facilitate retreats. So I've done about 50 retreats in my lifetime, but I have somebody who actually specializes in retreat facilitation, and she's got a beautiful model that we can utilize. So she and I will be collaborating to deliver that. And so if you're interested in facilitating retreats, that will be a great module for you to take. And then there's a couple other surprise individuals that I'm speaking with, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but we've got some really great things that are lining up for 2020. We're also going to do a yoga retreat about a year from now, so in April of 2020, that's going to focus on PTSD and trauma-sensitive yoga. So all different aspects of yoga to help people heal from different types of trauma, whether they're physical, sexual, mental, emotional, PTSD specifically, and really zeroing in on the anatomy of that, but then also looking at different yoga tools and techniques that we can use with that population to help them heal. So then we have the add-on programs that are available all the time. The Christ-centered yoga add-on pairs up with our 200-hour teacher training. So for people who went through, a classical yoga teacher training who want to add that Christ-centered piece, it lines up with our 200-hour yoga teacher training. And I think that Sherry, you are doing it right now. And I know, Anita, you had a little bit of interest in that, or not Anita, I'm sorry, Emily. You had a little bit of interest in that. So just want to make you aware that that is currently underway with our 200-hour yoga teacher training. We'll be offering that again starting in October of next year. So if that's something you want to know about, I can give you the dates for that. But basically, you receive an additional 60 hours of training to help facilitate Christ-centered yoga classes that adds on to your 200-hour that's already existing. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have the mindful eating and yoga teacher training add-on, also a self-paced program, but this one you can do whenever you want because it's available by recording. It's an 8-week program. There's actually a total of 9 pre-recorded 90-minute webinars where we teach you how to facilitate an 8-week workshop series, and then we also teach you how to integrate yoga into those workshops if you desire, including 2 different templates, 2 different classes and 2 different templates for each of the 8 weeks. So you literally get 16 yoga classes and 16 templates and modules available that you can use if you decide to do that program. So that's available anytime if you're interested. And we have a very special rate. You guys save 30% off the standard rate. Sorry, dogs just got home. I mean, people just got home, dogs are barking. But anyway, that is, you get 40 hours of master's credit if you decide to go through that program. I'm gonna close my door, hang on one second. Okay, so, so those are, you know, some of the programs we have available. The tuition is really convenient in the way that it works. You just pay per module that you complete. So, you know, it makes it really simple. You don't have to pay like a flat fee up front. It's not a huge investment. It's, you know, as you complete different modules, you just pay as you go. Okay, so I think that makes it really simplistic and manageable for people from a financial standpoint. And like I mentioned earlier, all you need to do is complete an application. There's no fee for completing the application. It just alerts me you are a part of the master's program, and now we're going to start tracking all of your hours and all your homework, and I get to be your accountability partner. So okay, I went through a ton of information. I'm going to take a moment to breathe and let you guys ask questions, and I will answer them. Okay, so go ahead and unmute yourself, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about it.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is Marty. I'm curious about the designation. So if I look at, say, Yoga Alliance, for example, they have an RYT 300, an RYT 500. I'm curious how that lines up with the masters and all that stuff.
So my program has not yet been run through the Yoga Alliance, and I'll explain why. They do not recognize yoga therapeutics.
Really?
So, really. So because this is a therapeutics program, as you can see, huge emphasis on therapeutics and different aspects of therapeutics. The Yoga Alliance does not at this time allow us to use the word therapy or healing in anything at all. And so there are yoga schools who've gotten around this by renaming their program, which I feel lacks in integrity. And so I have a problem with this. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you because I mean, I can rename the program and use different words, but it's a therapeutics teacher training program. It really is. And so, so I'm still in the process of working through that. There are 2 other organizations, one of which I was trained by in therapeutics, who they literally use a completely different name for their program. And there's actually 2 others I know of that are doing the same thing. I have to find a piece with that, Marty, and I don't know how to do that, to be honest, because the program is what it is. You know what I mean? And so the fact that the Yoga Alliance will not recognize yoga therapeutics in any way, shape, or form, they don't want to touch it, they don't want to deal with it, puts me in a really tough position. So this is something that came up earlier with another one of our trainees who is actually enrolled in the program. And I said, you know, I haven't quite figured this out yet. So I'm just going to be honest with you. Right now I'm at a point where I need to get some coaching on how to handle this. Or if the Yoga Alliance is really the right channel. There is an organization called the International Association for Yoga Therapists, M-AYST. Mm-hmm. But they charge about $50,000 to register with them. So I'm in a point right now where I'm gathering information, trying to figure out what direction I'm going to take with the program in terms of registry. However, that does not mean like all of the hours that you do are well, not all, I should say. Most of the hours that you do are part of the M-AYST program. So those you do get credit for. And so if you're, you know, doing your continuing education hours, they're recognized by the Yoga Alliance because I'm a M-AYST instructor. and I have a yoga school. But I have not enrolled the 300 or the 500 hour yet. And I just, like I said, need to figure that all out.
Right. Okay. I was just curious about that.
Yeah. And I understand. I mean but I'll be honest with you. I'm a practicing yoga therapist, and nobody has ever asked me if I am registered with, if I have a registration with Yoga Alliance or not. I do, but I'm not allowed to even use the words therapy or healing or anything related to therapeutics in my bio or anywhere else on the Yoga Alliance. So I'm a registered yoga therapist who's not a registered yoga therapist. It's the strangest thing ever. But it's the way the program was structured where I got trained. They did a workaround, basically. And we're not even allowed to use the name of their program. Like, we just say we got a 500 hour from Intervision Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality, it was in Healing Emphasis Yoga, and we can't even use the word healing.
Wow.
So, and they're registered with the Yoga Alliance. So it's kind of a mess. And so I'm, like I said, they are in the process of revamping their qualifications for different programs. Like, they have a committee assigned to this and other things. I don't know how long it will take before they have resolution on it. So I can't promise anything. All I can say is I know it's in the works. I'm trying to work through it myself. I don't know where we're going to land or how long it's going to take. But I do know that it is retroactive. Once, if we were to go and pursue this, or once they change their qualifications, it would be retroactive to the people who are enrolled in the program now. So that's all I really know at this time about it.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah. But it wouldn't keep you, I mean, like, if somebody were to come and ask me what your qualifications were, I mean, we are a registered yoga school. We are credentialed. We have been doing, teacher training since 2010. And so I highly doubt that anybody would challenge your qualifications. And the Yoga Alliance, quite frankly, is just a registry. They are not a certification organization. They are not a regulatory body of any way, in any way, shape, or form. They're a registry. So people choose whether to be aligned with the Yoga Alliance, and they choose whether or not they're going to register with the Yoga Alliance. And it doesn't mean that you can't continue to practice, teach, and work with private clients.
Yeah, I have not registered with them yet.
Yeah, and you're teaching. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is, please don't hear it the wrong way, but they've done a great job of marketing themselves to convince people that you need to have, a registry with them in order for your credentials to be meaningful. And it's simply not true. I'm an ERYT 500. I can register master level instructors, train and register master level instructors. However, nobody has ever asked me for my credentials ever, except if I go to Lululemon to buy yoga pants, or if I go to Athleta. Those are the only two places I've ever been asked if I'm registered. I kid you not. And
I'm a member of the Sweat Collective at Lululemon.
Yeah, exactly. So,
okay.
I just put it in proper perspective. That's all.
That sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
So the 300, 500, is that in addition? So we've already got the 200. So is it from 200 to 300 then, or is it starting back at 1 to 300 for the hours?
The 300 hour is an additional 300 hours on top of your 200 hour.
So starting at 1.
You would be a 500 hour instructor. Okay. If you did the 500 hour program, at the end of that, you'd be at 700. Okay. So yeah, it's on top of.
Okay.
Yep. The other thing I forgot to mention is that if you are interested in training yoga instructors in your future, some of you are, I know that, then you would need to complete a minimum of a 300-hour program on top of your 200-hour in order to train instructors. You also need a year's worth of teaching experience and some other qualifications, which if you're interested in that, let me know and I'll go over what the requirements are. But as you guys know, we have licensees of our teacher training program in Canada, Shirley Berthollet, and then also in Detroit with Trina Campbell. And so they are master level instructors. They are, and they are, as a result, and they had years and years of teaching experience that enabled them to then start to utilize my teacher training program and train instructors. So if that's something that you're interested in your future, this is also a pathway to that. Okay? All right. Any other questions? Okay, well, I'm going to take a moment to tell you a little about the instructors who are part of the program. Obviously, I am the president and founder of Inspiritus Yoga, and I am an ERYT master level yoga instructor, so I, as I mentioned earlier, can train at the master level, according to the Yoga Alliance. I'm also a yoga teacher trainer, a yoga therapist, a Thai yoga massage practitioner, a Reiki practitioner, and a licensed Am I Hungry mindful eating facilitator. So I started my yoga journey in about 2002 is when I got serious about yoga. I got my first teacher training in 2006 and then started training instructors in 2008. In 2010, I developed my own yoga program and my own yoga school, and I've been training instructors ever since. So that gives you just kind of a little bit of information about who I am and what my credentials are, because we've got a few new people on the program, or on the call tonight. We also have Shirley Berthollet, who is the leader of the Canadian training division for Inspiritus Yoga. She also has her own company separate from that called Breathe Move Be, and she's got a partner named Leanne Parsons who is incorporated into that program. She received her teacher training, I think her first one in 2007 or 8, if I'm not mistaken, and she is affiliated with the SPRA, which is the Saskatchewan Parks and Recreation Association, as a certified fitness instructor. And she's a longtime fitness enthusiast. So she's been doing yoga, health, and fitness really since like 2005. So master level instructor as well. She's been a part of this training program since its inception. She went through, when we did our first teacher training, she was trained on how to facilitate it at the same time as our launch of our teacher training program. So that was a leap of faith. And so then we also have Trina Campbell, who heads up the M-AYST Training Center based out of Detroit. She's also a master level instructor. I received my master's instruction, my first master's instruction with both of them, both Shirley and Trina. We went through the same program. And she's been practicing yoga for over 20 years. And then she received her teacher training, I think in like 2008. She opened her own yoga studio in 2015. And it's a beautiful place. It's called Sacred Space Yoga Center, and it's in Detroit, within the city of Detroit. But yeah, she's been a part of this program since the year after we started. So in 2012, I think, Trina became a part of our program. We also have Heath Reed, who I think all of you guys, except for Sherry, I guess Sherry, you probably haven't had any experience with Heath yet. But he is the co-founder of Living Meta. He and his wife, Nicole, co-own Living Meta. He's a licensed massage therapist, a movement therapist, and a body intelligence coach, who also, they together also train people in different modalities of body work. So they've been, doing their work for over 15, I think going on 20 years now. And they're a husband-wife team, incredibly dynamic. Whether you've had one of them or both of them, it literally will change your life to be exposed to Heath and Nicole's teachings. Fascinating, really compassionate, intelligent people who are very connected to this program. They were some of my teacher trainers during receiving my Thai yoga massage training, and then also in my yoga therapeutics training that I received, and now we collaborate to deliver training to you guys. So we also have Deb Altoff. She started practicing yoga over 20 years ago and received her 200-hour through Intervision Yoga here locally in Chandler, and then received a 300-hour in Healing Emphasis Yoga, so the yoga therapy teacher training program that I did about 8 or 9 years ago. Her specialty, as I mentioned earlier, is really helping people use yoga for therapeutic purposes, and then specifically she really loves to focus in on how we can help people through their grief recovery process using yoga. We also have Lori Haas, who is, her bio is not in here yet. I'm still, like I said, revamping some of this and adding people. She is a yoga therapist and a licensed professional counselor who's been practicing yoga for a very, very long time. And she integrates her counseling with yoga therapeutics to really help people with, whatever therapeutics they're working through, whether it's anxiety, depression, eating disorders, body image is kind of what her specialty areas are. So we're really super excited to have her be a part of this program. And she also went through the Healing Emphasis Yoga Therapeutics training program with me. We have Jessie DeWiggins. She is based in Rhode Island and is a part of the Am I Hungry? Mindful Eating and Yoga Teacher Training Program. She and I co-teach together for that program, and we also co-developed the training program, that add-on program I mentioned earlier. We have Lisa Jane Vargas, who she has 20 years in addiction, recovery, and behavioral health. And so she was the one who delivered our Yoga for Addiction Recovery program in our last yoga camp in April. So she is currently enrolled in the Healing Emphasis Yoga Therapeutics training at Intervision, and has a lot of experience to share with you guys. And then we have Rachel Glowacki, who is an international yoga teacher, trainer, and writer. She developed a kids yoga program of her own a number of years ago and has authored several books on the topic. She'll be a part of our yoga teacher training in October. We used to serve together in a leadership capacity with another training organization. We were both leaders in that training organization, and I am super excited to have her be a part of this. She's so enthusiastic and so much fun, and she's really gonna bring a lot to the kids yoga program that we'll be sharing with you. And then we have Charla Lewis, who is one of the owners of Intervision. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Of Joyful Yoga here in Tempe. And she went through her yoga therapeutics teacher training with me. And also we did our Thai yoga massage training together with Heath and Nicole Reed many years ago. But she has an extensive base of knowledge in Reiki. She's a master level Reiki practitioner. She also is trained in medical Qigong and incorporates a lot of that into her yoga practices and her training. She was one of the 2 individuals who offered the Reiki training with our last yoga camp. The second is Anita Sykes, who is Charlotte's partner. They both co-own Joyful Yoga. She's also a master level instructor who has a real heart for Reiki, but also does a lot of sup yoga, so stand up paddleboard yoga. So that's really cool. I'd love to see if we can incorporate that at some point. We'll see. That would be fun. I would need to learn it from the very beginning because I've never done it before, but I have a lot of interest in it. But anyway, she's also a medical Reiki practitioner. Both she and Charlotte are, and they train in that area. And so they've been contributing their expertise to our training program, but there'll be more down the road that they offer as a part of our training program as well. And then we have Michelle May, MD. She developed the Am I Hungry? Mindful Eating program. She's an author and a professional speaker on the topic of mindful eating, and is a very, very dear friend of mine. Actually, all of these individuals are dear friends of mine. And so she developed the mindful eating and yoga teacher training with myself and Jessie Dwiggins. So that's how she kind of plays into the training program. So you'll see her if you decide to do that add-on program. You'll see her on the videos leading those trainings. And then there'll be other individuals that we'll be adding. We have Lori Trulio and some other people, Kelly Murley, who will be a part of this, and some others. So stay tuned for some of those additions to come very soon. All right, I need to open this up to questions once again because I need to breathe and take a sip of water. Any questions about any of the offerings, how the program is structured, the application process, anything at all, please let me know.
Once you have your 300-hour, are there then requirements in order to keep it? I mean, that's going to be a long way down the road, I know, but like, then are there, you know, CEUs or what have you?
Yeah, we will have continuing education requirements in order to keep you current, but it's not going to be anything more than what's required with the Yoga Alliance. It'll match up with what theirs are. So I believe it's currently 45 hours every 2 years. I'll have to double check on that, but we'll align with whatever it is their requirements are in order to just make sure that you're continuing to stay current and, you know, continuing to learn and grow your own teaching practice. But yeah, that's going to be an integral part of this, because obviously if you're doing yoga therapeutics or wellness coaching or anything like that, we need to make sure that you're staying on top of your game, you know, and that you are staying current with the current information and training that's available. But it won't be anything real super extensive. Cool. Yep. Any other questions? No? Okay. Well, if you have any questions that come to you later, I'm kind of one of those people where I take in a bunch of information and then after the fact, suddenly questions will pop into my head. So if that's you, I get it. Feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I did, when I sent you guys the email, I included an application form that you can fill out. Really, there's nothing to lose. It's better that you would complete the application and then, you know, start to accrue hours over time. If you decide not to, like if you decide, yeah, I'm not going to pursue the 300 or the 500, there's no big deal. Like there's no problem with that. It just, if you tell me now that you're doing it, now we're going to start keeping track of your hours. And I'm going to make sure that you're on track, you know, to complete all those hours and doing all the requirements, meeting all the requirements of each of those modules. So it's really in your best interest to go ahead and do that if you have any interest in doing this at all. And then if you decide, yeah, it's not really for me, then you can continue to just take the programs that interest you, get the continuing ed hours or get the certificates in those specialty areas, and that's it. But it doesn't hurt you, you know, to submit that application so we can keep track of things. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, let me know if you have any other questions that arise after the call. And I'm excited to see so much interest. I think that it's just really encouraging. You guys can provide a really nice support community for each other, and learning together, growing together, just like, you know, if you did the 200-hour program with me in the past, you know, just like that program brings us all together in a learning environment to help feed off each other and grow together, you know, to challenge each other, to encourage each other, whatever the case may be, to practice together, right? Because there's going to be times where you're going to be learning things that you need to practice with others. And to have that community is just such a powerful thing. So we'd love for you to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week.
All right. You too.
Okay. Bye, you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.